Hi, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm the host of Best of Us Investors. I'm a retired financial advisor, but I'm not your financial advisor. I gave up my licenses back in 2005. This video's about something I've been beating on for 18 months. I did my first video where I said you need to get out of your China stocks because you don't know what you own. 18 months ago, and I've done 6 subsequent videos reinforcing the fact that you don't own anything, that you need to understand the relationship between the United States and China, and that both United States and China believe that the most important asset that anybody in this world owns today is data. And the Chinese government do not want us to have access to their national data, whether it be the birth date of Xie Sing, who lives in Beijing, or how many miles he drives on his car, or anything. And we don't want China to have that kind of data on our citizenry or our companies or our government activities. So there is a huge barrier that has been built to keep that data separated. And one of the ways that China has said is they don't want their companies, their internet companies, their restaurants, whatever, sharing the data that they have on their business and their clients with the United States. And the United States doesn't want China to have the data on our American citizens. So if you understand that, you have an understanding then of why you don't want to own China stocks, because China has basically told Alibaba and NIO, do not share your information with U.S. companies. Well, to list in the U.S., you have to succumb to the rules of the SEC and the NASDA and share your financial and company data to be listed. And you have a 3-year window to adhere to those conditions. Okay? If you understand that, you have the basis to understand why I've done 7 videos to say you don't want to own China companies. I'll get into the basics of it so that I'll put it in words you understand, because I first entertained this. I put up that picture of the 7 videos on Twitter. I become very active on Twitter, and I got some feedback that you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, Kerry, and you're just basically beating up on a wonderful horse, and I think the horse is called NIO. But let's get into that in detail right after this.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Grinkmeyer.
Okay, so I'm Alibaba, and I recognize that I have a company that it can do extremely well on the New York Stock Exchange if I can get listed. But Beijing says I can't get listed. So what can I do? Well, I form another company called Alibaba, and I have a contractual agreement with the Alibaba in China to own several shares in Grand Cayman. And I then enter into an agreement with the New York Stock Exchange that this company in Grand Cayman, who owns some of Alibaba's shares, wants to list on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, I'm sorry, Alibaba, you have to follow our rules, but we'll give you a 3-year leeway. I think it was at one point a 5-year, and now they've rolled it back to 3-year. And so they get listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, if in fact something goes wrong, or if in fact they want to change their policies and I am a owner of the shares of Alibaba out of the Grand Cayman, I have no voting rights. I just have a contractual agreement that if, in fact, something goes wrong and I want to sue, I have the right to sue that company in Grand Cayman who owns some Alibaba shares, but is not a part of the company, and I have no voting rights. That's what I own. Well, now what's happened is Congress has smelled this and said, this stinks. This isn't right because our American citizens don't know what they own. They think they own part of Alibaba and Baidu and Tencent and NIO and Zing. And so we have to shut that down. And that's what has caused the stocks to tumble in the last couple months. So what is their answer to the problem? We'll then move our listing over to Hong Kong. Okay, so now you American investors can now trade on Hong Kong. How many of you have the ability to trade and have traded in the past on in the Hong Kong exchange? How are you going to access it? What are the fees that are going to be involved? Most of you, a lot of you, have no knowledge whatsoever. A couple of months ago, I was sitting with Nita's cousin. Nita's cousin is a tremendous real estate developer in Indianapolis, Indiana. And he was telling me that he was bringing a financial advisor into his company to restructure some of their financial affairs to give them access to more money. And I said, oh, you deal with a financial advisor? He said, yeah, he pretty much takes care of my stock portfolio except for my largest holding. And I said, well, and what is that? And he said, Alibaba. I said, do you have any idea what you own? And he said, yeah, I own Alibaba. I said, no, you don't. You own a VEI, variable entity interest, out of the Grand Caymans that represents itself as a part of Alibaba, but it is not Alibaba. He says, what are you saying? I said, get out of it as fast as you can, because you don't know what you own. And I don't know what you own. And nobody really knows what you own when the shit hits the fan. And it will hit the fan. Well, I don't know if he took my advice, but that's the advice I have been giving in the last 7 videos that I've done in this subject. And what I fear is, like Marcus over on Twitter says, false. He just uses one-word answers to basically say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I do. And I've done the research, and I have a background. I have a CFP, a CHFC, a CLU. I have a master's degree in investing. And I do a lot of reading. I read a lot about the stock market every day. That's what I do. So I just want to forewarn you that there are a lot of talking heads on YouTube and CNBC and Bloomberg who don't have a clue of what this really is and what, in fact, the whole stock market is all about. And if you want to play in this game, you need to be educated. I was watching a movie on Meyer, I can't remember. He's a 1940s involved in gambling, and he basically said, whoever owns the casino has an unfair chance to win. And I got to thinking, he's describing Wall Street. Whoever owns the casino is the ultimate winner. And here we are playing in the Wall Street casino, and we don't know what we own. At least some of us don't. Some of you don't. Get out of China. Don't play that game. There are too many good opportunities to invest in United States companies that have some regulation, you can get their annual report as a shareholder and you can read it. Yeah, you can read it and you can understand what business they're in and what you own. You cannot do that on a Grand Cayman company that is really nothing more than a post office box and maybe a secretary living on a nice home on the beach down there. So that's my advice to you. There's plenty of opportunities here in the United States. And yeah, Marcus, I have advised people to buy biotech stocks that in fact are down as much as NIO and Alibaba are, if not in some cases further. But I know what I own. I understand the science. I guess you understand the electric vehicle, but I don't think understand the stock that you own. So that's my take on it. I wanted to share that with you and wanted to invite you to like this channel, subscribe to this channel. I'm only here for one reason. I've made my fortune. I'm in the process of making another fortune through my investments and through my work. But I'm here to help you make better investment decisions, to learn how to keep more of what you make. I've spent 2 days this week doing my income taxes, and I want to share that with you in this next week, and how I've avoided paying $40,000, $50,000 worth of income taxes this year, and what my new strategy is to even avoid some more in the coming years. So that's what this channel is all about. I have some other presenters that approach investing differently. That's what that's about. I encourage you to use YouTube, to use Seeking Alpha, to use TradingView, to use a number of stock cards, a number of other tools to achieve goal number one, and that is to make good investment decisions. You can find links to all of those tools with discounts, and then you can find on our website the books that I think you should read and specialize in an area. Some people write me and say, Kerry, I found this stock that I think you should look at. It's involved in the cannabis field. Oh, I think the cannabis field is going to be profitable, and I think solar energy is going to be profitable, but I have to specialize in one area. I can't read and study and become the smartest guy in the room on everything. And I encourage you, don't do that, because you can't beat the casino. You can only become better at one specific game and then play it the long game, because the casino plays for today. Talk to you again tomorrow.